Welcome to our celebration of the 453rd birthday of poet and dramatist William Shakespeare. Shakespeare, of course, died on his April 23rd birthday in 1616. And about 7 years later, his friends and colleagues published an anthology of his plays, now called the First Folio. His friend and rival, Ben Jonson, dedicated the folio with a poem titled "To My Beloved," the author of these works, Mr. Shakespeare. In that poem he wrote, "To draw no envy, Shakespeare, on thy name am I thus ample, to thy book and fame, while I confess thy writings to be such, as neither man nor muse can praise too much. The applause, the delight, the wonder of our stage." Johnson went on to assert that Shakespeare was soul of the age, and said that thou art a monument to, without a tomb. Thou art alive while thy book lives, and we have wit to read and eyes praise to give. If all of this seems a bit much for a tradesman's son who's been dead for more than 4 centuries, it may help to remember that Shakespeare gave us some pretty clear guidelines about how to read his plays. At the start of King Henry V, the chorus asks us to pardon the flat, unraised spirits that have dared to bring forth so great a subject on this stage. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the mighty casks that did fright the air at Agincourt? O pardon, gentles all, since a crooked figure may attest in a little place 1,000,000, and let us ciphers to this great account on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined 2 mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with thy thoughts, and into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hoofs in the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that must deck our kings, carry them here and there, crossing over times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass, for the which supply admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience, I pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. We can't help but notice how Shakespeare puts so much of the work on us, his readers. It's our imagination that has to turn the text into something like life. Of course, this apology came early in a career that spanned some 54 years. By the end of that career, he was a bit less imperious. In his final play, where some critics, not me, see an intentional parallel between author and protagonist, Shakespeare concludes the last play he ever wrote by himself, with an epilogue that reminds me, at least, of the Lord's Prayer. Prospero comes out and says, "Now all my charms are overthrown, and what strength I have is mine own, which is most faint. 'Tis true, I must be here confined by you, but let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver dwell on this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, which must be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and bears all faults, as you from crimes would pardon be. Let your indulgence suck me free. Happy birthday, Will, and thank you for all that you've done for us, and especially for me."